It's really funny thinking back to the lead up to this most recent Nintendo Direct, because it seems that everybody forgot that, like, the summer season of gaming, like the June, July season of gaming, news and stuff like that used to be E3, right? It was always prime time to make major announcements for anything in regards to gaming, right? So the fact that we got, the PlayStation State of Play, the Summer Games Fest, the Xbox Showcase, and the Nintendo Direct within days of each other shouldn't really be that much of a surprise, because they've essentially created their own cycle of E3. Like, they've kind of just proven, like, we don't really, like, we miss having E3, but we don't really need it, right? Because everybody was present for their own individual things. You know what I'm saying? PlayStation had their showcases showing off a lot of cool individual stuff. State of Play, or Summer Games Fest was great, you know what I'm saying? Looking forward to Final Fantasy. Xbox Showcase was awesome. Nintendo Direct, for RPG fans specifically, was absolutely prime. For Nintendo fans specifically, it was very hit or miss, because there was no Mario, there was no, what else do y'all play? You know what I'm saying? No Pokemon, whatever. No, there was Pokemon, we got Pokopia, but there was no Mario. And I know that hurt a lot of people, but one of the things that surprised me was not even the fact that we didn't get Smash, right? Because it's like, with Smash Ultimate, we don't even know, like, this is one of the few times where I actually am like, okay, I do not blame Sakurai if he really is done with the franchise after that, because that was a big demand, and that probably took years off that boy's life, you know what I'm saying? Smash Ultimate was a massive, massive, massive project, and truly a feat that it even exists. Like, it is a miracle that that game exists in any way, shape, or form with all of the content that it has in of itself. And I appreciate that game to high hell. Obviously, while I would love a new Smash game, I really didn't think that we would see it at this Nintendo Direct. Like, there was no way that we were going to see it now, right? I know people claim, like, dude, it's been since 2018, it's been damn near almost a decade since the release of the game, it's about time they do something. Yeah, but you gotta remember, bro, they were also working stupid hard on DLC and stuff like that, the just general content, there was a lot of, effort that went in post-release too for years, you know what I'm saying, up till 22, right? So there was still a lot of work to be had, okay? So we're not going to go ahead and, dismiss that or anything, right? So I was not surprised that there was no Smash here. Would I think it would have been cool? I do think to an extent it would have been reasonable to see something since, it's been so long now. But I wasn't holding my breath on a new Smash, right? I definitely was a little surprised that we didn't really see much Kirby at all, right? Which I know is probably a little unrealistic considering the fact that we haven't even had Kirby Air Riders for a full month, or a full year. A full month is crazy. We haven't had Kirby Air Riders for even a full year yet, so, it's probably crazy to be thinking about the next major Kirby title, but at the same time, not really, right? Because as much as I love Air Riders, it was a spin-off, and it was never really, the moment Sakurai said, like, yeah, there's gonna be no, like, extra content or DLC or anything like that, that game was bound to kind of die out early, right? I love it. It's a very good and very high quality, well-made game, but there was no way it was ever gonna last that long, Nobody was talking about Kirby Air Riders even, like, 2 weeks after its release. Like, it was done, And that really sucks to think about, but, that's where we are. So when it comes to, Sakurai, a lot of us are sitting here wondering, like, okay, well, no Smash, right? We're probably not going to see that for a good while. We just got a Kirby game, and that, he spent a very, very, very long time working on a Kirby game that was very high quality, even if it didn't last us as long as, everybody would have probably hoped. What's next on the menu from Big Daddy Sakurai, you know what I'm saying? Because, that's a big boy developer right there. A lot of people always have eyes on him for the next major thing, you know what I'm saying? And right now, it's not like I'm dismissing the fact that we have a lot of really solid games coming out within the next couple of months alone, with Star Fox in a couple of days from now. We have Splatoon Raiders coming out a month right after that, and we have Ocarina of Time confirmed for sometime this year, which, honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if it got a delay, considering the fact that we haven't even seen a gameplay teaser. If it's coming out this year, it's crazy that we don't have any form of release date or gameplay. So we'll have to see what happens with all that. But, outside of Aonuma, you know, we're also looking at Sakurai, because it's just like, you know, we gotta imagine Sakurai has something cooking in the background if it wasn't DLC for Kirby Air Riders. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's a man of many talents. So we're sitting here thinking, like, what could that next potential project be? Now, I'm gonna lay it all out here, the projects that I personally am looking to, right? I'm looking first at Kid Icarus, because that is the one IP of his that has been dormant for the longest, right? If you are a Kid Icarus fan in any way, shape, or form, you are clamoring for one of two things: for that remaster to be a solid port for Switch or Switch 2, probably Switch 2, and they hopefully found a way to make it work so that the gameplay is, operable on a Switch 2, or you're looking towards that next entry, because it's crazy how incredibly underrated of a game Kid Icarus Uprising is, and even was at the time of its release, right? That game is extremely special. It is truly something from the heart. It's so humorous. It's got such a unique style to it in its gameplay, in its story, in everything about it. It is so incredibly unique, and it is incredibly baffling to me that, everybody knows who Pit is now. Right? They know Pit, they know Dark Pit, thanks to Smash, and, after Smash 4, reintroducing them in their own title, you'd think that would do a lot more numbers for the franchise, but, it probably didn't do as much as they would have hoped, but, it is what it is. But I truly do believe that putting Kid Icarus in front of more people on Switch or Switch 2 would have done it so much more justice. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're looking for, we're always looking at Nintendo for their big IP reveals and stuff like that. So, I always think about the potential of what Kid Icarus could be if they still have any general plans for it in the future. And I would love it if Sakurai didn't completely abandon that project, because that project is so incredibly special. It is such a solid game, easily one of the most unique and fun experiences I've ever had on the DS, period, right? Especially for the 3DS. But, like, it's so well made. It's so very much heavily crafted with love, and I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that humor. I want to see more of those characters. I want to see what they could do with a potential sequel or spin-off or something in regards to that. I would want to see what that playstyle would feel like on the big screen, where it deserves to be, right? So I really truly do not know what could happen with that, but I would definitely, if Sakurai were working on anything, I think that would be my next primary thing, right? Obviously the other two are primaries, but like much less so, considering how much work they take to do, right? For example, don't get me wrong, I would love to see the next Kirby installment, but it's simply too soon, right? I'm looking at Kirby like I'm looking at Sonic Racing Crossworlds, excuse me, right? Because we had the big three of racing last year with Mario Kart World, Kirby Air Riders within the same year on the same console, and then Sonic Racing Crossworlds, right? Those were the big three in the racers. And the thing about Sonic Racing Crossworlds is the fact that that is an in-house developed game from Sonic Team. Sonic Team made their own spin-off. They didn't outreach, they didn't third-party it, they made that sucker in-house. It's no wonder it's so high quality, because they actually have a budget now, and they got smart with it by introducing a game that they could pretty much have as much freedom that they wanted with as possible. And so now we're looking at all these really cool collabs and all these really cool events that we have to look forward to, and they're doing everything in their power to keep the game alive. On the other hand, with Nintendo, I've already complained about the fact that Mario Kart World just simply does not exist anymore, apparently, to Nintendo, because they are moving on to bigger and better already. But even worse is what happened with Kirby Air Riders, in which that game really did come and go. Like, it's so sad, because the game is crafted so well. All the events that they had, all the different modes, I'm not gonna say all the different modes, but, city trial and the races, and even like the campaign that was super replayable, mind you. It was super, you could easily go through the campaign in a couple of hours, but it was like an RPG. It was so much fun to just redo that over and over again. Like, it's very well made. But that's also in-house. That was directly, Sakurai involved. Not like the original Air Riders wasn't or anything like that, but because of that, that took a lot of dev time, that took a lot of brain power, that took a lot of money to develop. And we just got that, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were probably working up to the final moments within the last year, right? Because that's how high quality that game is. I would fully believe that. So the idea of potentially getting another Kirby game anytime soon is kind of, it's in the air, but like, I'm not, you know, completely banking on that idea. And on top of all of that, I just remembered that we also technically got another Kirby project in Kirby Forgotten Land Switch 2 Edition with the DLC in there, which means somebody had to be working on that as well. So, you know, there were some teams within, you know, Sakurai's company doing a little overtime on some Kirby projects with both Air Riders and Forgotten Land DLC. So it's kind of like, I don't know. As much as I would love to see that next Kirby title, I feel like we're probably not even going to hear about it until maybe next year. I wouldn't bank too heavily, but I don't know. Who knows? You know, Nintendo, they always whip it out of left field. They are the kings of left field. So it's not impossible to say that they could have been working on the next major 3D title with another team in the works. And now that everybody's all cool and collected over there on the Kirby team, maybe we got something coming sooner than we probably think. The next major 3D title, right? So I don't know. Maybe we'll have to play that one by ear. And then obviously the big elephant in the room that we have to talk about is Smash, because it has been since 2018 since we've received the actual title of Smash Ultimate, and then they ran that all the way through to 2022 with Sora being our last major addition character for the second Fighters Pass. So we have not seen anything new in the field of Smash since 22, which means it's been at least 4 years since then, but it's been 2 years from a decade since we've gotten Smash Ultimate in of itself, which is crazy to think about. Jesus actual Christ. But regardless of that, you know, that is too big of a title for Nintendo not to be considering as one of their, you know, big major like potential holiday releases one of these upcoming years, right? But it's hard to say when something like Smash will come, because that is, I think, easily probably I think it's safe to say, like, within the top 5 of like most demanding video game projects of all time, considering how much work goes into, you know, like refining all of the characters, getting all of their movesets down, making sure to get all the rights to everybody. It's such a mess just to design Smash, let alone to get all the rights outside of, you know, the Nintendo field, you know what I'm saying, getting all those third-party characters, which is, you know, what most people are excited about the most, seeing what legendary video game character is going to make it into the fray next, right? So with a big project like that one, you have to consider how much time it would take to design something like that, especially for a brand new console with, you know, just obviously graphics got to be updated, music. It takes so much time to design something like that. And on top of that, you know, for Sakurai, it kind of would have been impossible to have anything like that ready anytime soon, even for, you know, the Switch 2's release, considering the fact that, again, he was spending a lot of his time working on Kirby Air Riders, you know, as he stated after he finished posting all of the videos he was planning to post on his, you know, game development channel on YouTube. He was saying, like, yeah, those were recorded like 2 years prior, and I've spent those 2 years working on Kirby Air Riders, and up to that point, you know, it had already been, what, 2025, something like that. So yeah, well, he didn't say Kirby Air Riders, it was a secret project that we didn't learn about until later, but regardless, which meant, you know, that means he may have gotten started, like, if there was a Smash in development, it might have just started development. Like, it would still be in the super early stages. We wouldn't see that for at least another 2 or 3 years. Minimum. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter how many people they have up on deck, bro. The refinery in Smash titles, the polish that they would have to do, man, we wouldn't see that for a long time. So, frankly, you know, the more I think about it, as fun as a new Smash would be, it would just be downright impossible unless they had somebody else directing it. And Sakurai's had his hands full. And I know, like, I would trust Sakurai with any game he puts out. You know, if he decided to create like a brand new IP of something, I'm with it. You know, that's one of the best developers out there. Him, Nomura, absolute demons. You know what I'm saying? Aonuma, I'm with it, right? But it's just kind of hard to imagine a world in which a Smash game is anywhere near ready to be showcased. And I just, you know, I'm not going to hold out too much hope on something like that. So, I don't know. I have to imagine if there's anything that might have been considered being worked on, it might have been a new Kirby title or potentially a Kid Icarus port or a Kid Icarus new title. But it's rough. It's rough to say. There's no telling, but I don't know. We'll just have to play it by ear. But either way, I've said my piece. This one was just pretty much like a ramble filler type one. I just had it in the back of my mind. I'm like, you know what? Let's just do it. I want to make sure to have enough filler throughout this upcoming week because I want to start, trying to post regularly again. So I want to make sure to have just enough content to just kind of start running it out, because we got to get some work done. You know what I'm saying? We want to grow this channel, and I want to do more for you guys. So if you guys have anything that you want me to talk about, if you have any games that you want me to stream on here, let me know. Make sure to join up in the Discord and talk to us and let us know, what kind of games you're interested in seeing streams of and stuff like that I haven't played before, or maybe if I have played it before, if you just want to chit chat with me while I play it, whatever, we'll play it by ear. But I don't know why I'm saying that here. End of the video. Let's get out of here. I'm passing the mic over in your direction, and and I hope you guys tell me everything that you're thinking in the comment section below. Do you agree that it just seems pretty unlikely that Sakurai has had anything too major in the works, and we probably won't see it for a good while because of his hard work on Kirby Air Riders, which is a solid game but ultimately died on arrival? Or are you on the opposing side? Sakurai's been cooking up something. There's a very good chance that we'll end up seeing it really, really soon, and we definitely have a lot to look forward to, but they're probably saving it because this year, the end of this year, is pretty jam-packed as it is, and they're just kind of waiting it out. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I'm always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, yes ma'am, it does appear to be Skedaddle o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and do just that. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gonzo. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time.